Hello, everybody. My name is Anuj Sehgal, and I am a volunteer for India Khelo Football. India Khelo Football started in 2020 as a not-for-profit platform for connecting grassroots talent with professional opportunities in football across India. IKF provides a structural pathway for players to become professional footballers. It also provides pathways for people to get into football coaching, management, sports analysis, and media. Amongst the activities that IKF conducts are IKF trials, which over the years has helped over 20,000 young aspirants to conduct trials through IKF over 60 cities with 50 different partners. IKF also conducts workshops by leading scouts from overseas who come over to India and also conduct technical analysis of the talent that we have in India. It also showcases Indian talent to overseas universities, and it also provides scouting as a service to different organizations. As part of our initiative, today we are launching a new podcast series called the Football Diaries. This podcast is an attempt to showcase football talent that India has, and hopefully, by listening to the experiences and journeys of these players, more and more people, more and more kids will be encouraged to play football. So, my first guest today on Football Diaries is Anaya Sehgal. Anaya Sehgal lives in Singapore and is 15 years old, and she has been playing football since the age of 4. And currently, she plays in the Women's Premier League in Singapore with a club called the BG Tampines Rovers, and also plays football for her high school varsity team. Welcome, Anaya, to Football Diaries.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, I guess we will get into the podcast now. My first question, Anaya, is that you have been playing football since you were 4. So that's almost 11 years of football experience. So, can you give us a sense as to what interested you to get into football, and what was the key driver for you to explore this sport?
So, like you said, I got into football when I was around 4 years old. And at first, it was just something for fun. I would play on the weekends with some friends at a park. And then I'd also join like an extracurricular activity at school that my parents enrolled me in. Um, and for the first couple of years, it was just for fun. And then I just really enjoyed it. I just thought it was a really good sport and it was really fun. And then I just stuck with it. And that's how now it's become a key part of my life.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, Anaya, can you also help our listeners understand, what your football journey has been over the last 11 years, and what have you learned by playing football over the last 11 years?
So, like I said, my journey started when I was about 4, and at this time I was living in Hong Kong. And first, I just played for fun and at the school ECA, and my PE teacher at school, I think I was 6 years old. She told me I should join a club called Hong Kong Football Club, which I did join. Their under 8 girls team when I was 7, and I played there for a few years and played for the under 8 team, under 10 team, under 12 team, and then even the under 14 and 15 teams. And at the same time, I was obviously still playing with my school, with their various from under 7 until under 11 teams and beyond that as well. And I also played for the under 12 Hong Kong representative team. And in 2021, our family relocated from Hong Kong to Singapore. And in Singapore, I joined a club called GSSL, which is affiliated with BG Tampines Rovers. And I've been playing at GSSL and Tampines Rovers. I started playing with Tampines Rovers last season. And I've also been playing with my school team, Singapore American School, their varsity team, in grade 9 and grade 10. So, yeah, that's been roughly my football journey. And I think football helps with a lot of skills in life. Like obviously time management is a big one. As an athlete, you have to manage your time better and just be on top of things all the time. It helps with a lot of other real life skills like communication, teamwork, being a team sport, you need to be able to collaborate and work together as a team, because football is all about the team. It's not about being an individual. And discipline, football teaches you discipline. You need to, be persistent, never give up. Sometimes things don't go your way, but you just need to stick with it. And I think there's just a lot of things you can learn from playing sports like football, and they've really helped me in my day-to-day life.
Okay, no, that's very interesting. And I believe you, other than playing football, you also have been doing very well academically. So can you, and you elaborated, or rather, you mentioned that you learned about time management and discipline. Maybe can you elaborate as to how playing football has helped you focus better on your academics and become better at time management and discipline? And the reason I ask this is because a lot of parents and children have a concern that if they play sport, it's going to come at the expense of their academics. So I wanted to get your opinion, because you've obviously experienced it over the last 11 years, and you could shed some light as to what the real experience is.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very interesting question, and it's one that I think some people have a few misconceptions about. I think that playing a sport, in my opinion, it helps you do better academically, because when you play a sport, first of all, your schedule becomes a little bit more packed, but then that kind of forces you to use your free time to study, to stay on top of assignments. Oftentimes, especially with school, if your grades aren't met, you cannot like play your sport. So it really just gives you another incentive to do well in school. And I think, like I mentioned, time management, sports helps you so much with that. Ever since I've started playing soccer, my grades have never suffered from playing a sport. And I even think that they've helped me do better, because I have just learned to manage my time better. I know that if I have football training later on in the day, I should try and get my schoolwork done before. And, maybe without sports, kids would be inclined to just, procrastinate a bit more and just leave it on, put it off, because they don't really have much anything else to do. But having a sport forces you to use the time that where your downtime or your free time. It forces you to, put in some work academically. And that's not to say that playing a sport and keeping on top of your studies, just that takes up all your time. I still have time to socialize, hang out with friends, hang out with family. And I really just think sports helps you with your time management and helps you keep on track of your grades.
Okay, no, that's very clear. And I think, there have been studies which people have done. I think I recall a study being done in Australia where they actually looked at the average grades of children who used to play a sport versus the average grades of children who were not playing any sport. And they saw a remarkable difference where the children who were playing a sport had better average grades than children who were not playing sport. So I think that really makes a lot of sense. Now, I also want to dwell into some of your achievements, over the last sort of 11 odd years. I know that you recently played in an inter-school tournament at Bangkok in Thailand, and your team won the gold. Can you also talk about some of your other achievements, that you have experienced over the last 11 years, and with which teams, and what sort of contribution did you really make to those teams in their achievements?
So I'll start with the most recent ones. Obviously, like you mentioned, recently I played in a tournament called IASIS in Bangkok, and it's 6 schools in Southeast Asia, including my school. And we did end up winning gold. I scored the only goal in the final, and I was also selected for the all tournament team. And so that's been one of the highlights. The same tournament we also won last year, where I think I played a pretty key. Last year was my freshman year, so my first year on the team, and I think I also played quite a key role in that, us winning gold. So from a school standpoint, obviously there's been that. Then from a club standpoint, I think a big moment for me was making my WPL debut with BG Tampines Rovers. I believe in April or May this year. And that was a pretty big moment for me. Throughout the season, I scored 2 goals, and that's been that's been a pretty nice achievement. And with my club before, so we've won quite a few tournaments. We won the league in 2024 and 2022, I believe. And then back in Hong Kong as well, our girls team at HKFC was quite dominant. We won a lot of youth tournaments. With school as well, my school in Hong Kong, we won almost every inter-school tournament. And additionally, I've also been selected for the GSSL Pros team in 2022 and 2023. So the Pros team is an under 16 team. The first year when I was selected, I think I was 13, and the second year I was 14. And this team competes in a tournament in Singapore, which has a lot of big clubs from Europe like Valencia, Sporting Lisbon, just Espanyol, some big Spanish and European in general clubs. And it was just a great experience to see the level of other teams and how, competitive and physical they were. And yeah, I think those are some of my big achievements in football and some of them that I'm really proud of.
Okay, great. And I also, want to follow up, Anaya. So you are amongst the youngest players in the Women's Premier League here in Singapore. Obviously in your team there are people, age from 15 all the way to maybe in their mid 30s. So can you share what your experience has been with playing with older people? What your experience has been in terms of managing the interpersonal relationship. As football is a team game, so you not only have to do your bit, but you also have to support your team and also have a good working relationship in terms of getting the best out of every player. So can you share some experience of how is it when you play at the WPL versus when you play let's say with your school team?
So throughout my life, I have been, usually one of the younger members of the team. And I think it has its pros and cons for sure. Like it does take you some time to earn your teammates' respect because at first they're like, it's a younger player. Why should I be giving them my respect? And being a younger player does kind of like mean that you have to be on top of your game all the time because you need to stand out. If a coach has to choose between, starting an older player or a younger player and they're both at the same level, he's obviously going to choose the older player. So being younger does make you better because you're forced to constantly play at your highest level. And I think on the WPL team, this was something that I really had to show. And I think I proved that quite well. And I started every game. I was consistently taking things like free kicks, corners, and being a key member of the team in the midfield. And I think it took a little bit of time for all the players to, for me to earn their respect. But once I did, I think it doesn't make that much difference. Age is just a number. And if you're good enough to play with older players, then you should be allowed to play. And with school as well, this year, our school team takes players across 4 grades from 9 to 12. And so this year I was a 10th grader. So this was my second year on the school team. And I was one of, the leaders. I was someone who people were looking up to, somebody who, someone who the team like saw as a role model on the field. And I think contrasting that to last year when I was a bit new, I still earned the respect of my team and I still started every game. But, as you grow older, you start to be seen more of like as a role model and as someone to look up to. And I think starting young really helps that because you have more years to show that development and that growth.
Understood. And one thing we did not sort of speak about as yet is so you are a center attacking midfielder, and maybe you can share your experience of what it means to be a center attacking midfielder, both in terms of the role that you have to play in the team and the responsibility that you have, because at the end of the day, it's a crucial role connecting the defenders and the strikers and managing the sort of overall game plan. So can you elaborate how your experience has been as a center attacking midfielder, and if you could also share some advice for any young kid who aspires to be a center attacking midfielder? What are the things that he or she should focus on?
Yeah, so as a center attacking midfielder or as a cam, I think some of the really important skills that cams need to have is the vision. Oftentimes, cams are referred to as the playmakers of the team. They usually have very, very good technical ability. They're able to penetrate through defensive lines, find slotted or through balls to the strikers or forwards, the wingers. They're able to shoot from distance. They usually have very good spatial awareness. They're able to receive from the defense, turn, and create opportunities. And obviously, defensively, they're obviously more of an attacking player than defensive, but they're still strong defensively and they're able to win battles in the midfield. As a cam, I think some of the skills that I prioritize trying to be the best version of myself are definitely my dribbling ability, my shooting, and my vision. I think those are three of the most important ones. However, football being a physical sport, you still need to stay up with your fitness, with your strength. Fitness, especially, cam is a position where you're doing a lot of running. You have to be able to transition well from the defense to the attack and the attack to the defense. And so, obviously, fitness is a key part of that. You still need to be a very strong player because being cam, oftentimes when you're like escaping with the ball, you'll have a couple of players around you, and if they're able to just body you off the ball, then there's no point. So you need to be strong and be able to withstand that challenge. So yeah, I just think that as a cam, like something that I think sets me apart is my vision and my dribbling ability. And I really think those are skills that every cam should have. And for aspiring center attacking midfielders, I would say some advice would be, just stick with it. Sometimes it can be a position where you feel like you're doing a lot with less reward. You're always creating balls, you're always trying to make opportunities, and maybe sometimes they just don't make, like they don't convert, you're not scoring, people aren't finishing your balls, but just stick with it, and when you do finally get those goals or get those assists, it's such a rewarding feeling. Other advice I would give is definitely don't ignore your fitness. I've seen a lot of players who want to be cams because it's a very popular and very sought after position, and they have the technical ability, but they simply just cannot keep running for those 90 minutes. I think some fitness is a part of football that some players try to overlook. And if you can't last the full game, there's almost no point in you being a footballer because it's just something that's so crucial and it's just something that you need to have. So yeah, my advice to cams would be to, stick with it, don't give up, and make sure your fitness, you keep that high. And also probably one of the most important skills is being able to escape from pressure. As a cam, oftentimes when you receive maybe your back towards goal or you're receiving in a pressure situation, you need to have tools in your arsenal to be able to, get out of that pressure, like turns, step overs, fakes, cutbacks, whatever it is. You just need to be able to get out of that pressure. So that would probably be my three key advice: is stick with it, don't ignore your fitness, and master, escaping from pressure.
Okay, no, that's very helpful. So now just changing gears, and I also want to understand, and maybe also for our listeners who are aspiring to play football, what are your future aspirations? You are 15. You are already playing for the Women's Premier League here in Singapore. You're also playing for your high school team. But what do you aspire for, let's say, over the next 10 years? What do you wish to sort of achieve in the field of football?
So one of my biggest aspirations for sure is to play for India. Um, I think India has so much growth that could happen in football and that will happen. It's a big country, a lot of people, there's talent, and now with the right development and training and coaches, there's really a lot of room for growth. So I would love to play for India. That would probably be one of my biggest aspirations. Other than that, I really do want to go D1 in America for college. I currently go to an American school, and I think that like D1 is just such a amazing and such a good experience any player would be very grateful to have. And so I'm really trying to put in the work now to make sure that can happen. Yeah, those would probably be my two biggest aspirations longer term. Short term, obviously, I'm focused with currently with Rovers in the next season to try and do better than we finished last season, and score more goals, just be a player of the team, a key member, and yeah, just really score. And obviously with school, the school season is currently over, but next season I would really aspire to, um, you know, same like score goals, be a leading member of the team, and just really just show my talent on the field.
Okay, no, good luck, Anaya, and I hope you fulfill some of your aspirations. But it's interesting you say that, because most people don't realize this, but in women's football, America is actually the leader in the world, as against men's football, where it's mostly the European and the South American teams. And it's very interesting that mainly happened because they didn't have any legacy of men's football, and the women's team was basically nurtured from grassroots levels, and they have a very comprehensive football program all the way from schools to universities, and which is what then produces amazing players who end up playing for Team USA, which have, I think, won 4 of the last 8 World Cups. Okay, and then I guess, and my last question to you is, what advice would you have for young girls and boys who want to play football? Obviously, as we said in the beginning, hopefully this discussion will inspire some of the young boys and girls who are thinking about playing football but can't play because of various reasons. So what advice would you have for them? And anything particular that you think they should be doing, either to encourage their parents for them to allow them to play football, or for their schools, or in general, what should they be doing themselves so that they can pursue something that they are really passionate about?
So I think this is going to be a bit generic, but I think the most important thing is to never give up. Um, Football is a sport where sometimes coaches will tell you you're too small, maybe you don't have the right skills, you're just not ready yet. And while it is important to take this feedback and use it to grow as a player, you cannot let it drag you down and like just make you stop. I've like everyone's had moments in their careers where they just feel really bad. They just feel like nothing's going anywhere. They feel stuck. They feel like they're at a low, but you just have to stick with it and keep trusting that good things will come to you. So that's my first advice, is never give up. My second advice would be, always listen to your coaches and your parents and whoever it is that is giving you advice. For me, my coaches have helped me a lot throughout my years in becoming a better player, but also my parents. They go to every games when they can. They always give me feedback that I use to improve, real honest feedback that's helped me become a better player. So that would be my second advice. And my third advice would just be like hard work. You have to be willing to work for it. Like success doesn't come without hard work. And at the end of the day, it's just about how much you're willing to work for it, how you use your time. Everyone only has 24 hours in a day. So what you're doing with those 24 hours is going to determine how you end up doing. And like I mentioned before with the grades, for a lot of kids, sometimes football, like they want to play the sport, but they're just not staying on track of their studies. So make sure you're staying on track of your studies, because like that's also an important part of your life. You can't just, you know, let go of your studies and just do football only. You need to have your studies as a backup. Let's say you're trying to go as a pro player and maybe you get injured or it just doesn't work out. You need to have a backup plan. So do not ignore your studies. Make sure you're on top of those. And I mean, I think the most important thing is make sure you're having fun. Football is a really amazing sport. It brings people together. It's so fun to watch, it's so fun to play. So just have fun, enjoy yourself, express yourself. If you're a younger player, just don't bother too much about winning or losing, stressing out. Just enjoy the game, enjoy those moments. And as you start to become older and start to take it more and more seriously, then yeah, ensure you're putting in the hard work and taking on advice and feedback from your coaches and parents. But yeah, I think that would probably be my advice to younger players.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Anaya, and I hope our conversation acts as a sort of encouragement for younger boys and girls who want to pursue football as a sport. So thank you very much for being the first guest on Football Diaries. Hopefully, we will have more young players come onto the program and share their experience and journeys, which will help younger kids take up football, or for that matter, any other sport, and pursue their dreams. Thank you very much. And once again, Anaya, good luck for your future.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Bye bye.